Good evening. We're live. This is Justin Enquist and my wife, Alicia.
Good evening.
We're excited to be here again with you this night. And a little bit late, got our kids to bed.
Had a little date night.
Took out for a little date night.
dancing and a little food.
So tonight's going to be just be a little more just relaxed. We want to just kind of share with you some things that have been on our mind because honestly, it kind of crept up on us the fact that tonight was our Facebook Live night, and we really wanted to be able to talk. Hey, Jerry Sharp, good to see you tonight, and Stephanie.
Hello.
And so I thought, told Alicia, let's just talk about, what we've been experiencing here, what we've been learning in an area that has been new for us, especially in the last year or so. But it's been amazing as we have been realizing the power of this truth that we have actually been seeing it in action. And it's been very fascinating to see things come together, even here as recent as tonight and earlier today. And so I think the title of our little talk here probably gives it away. But visualization, ooh. Is that, and I think we said, is it voodoo or reality? Well, what do you think? Hey, Jessica, how you doing tonight? And Dorothy, good to see you. Thanks for watching. David.
Hey, David.
And you're welcome to comment. You're welcome to, add your thoughts here and stuff. But what do you think of when you think of visualization? Is it fact or fiction? Is it voodoo or reality? Is it a bunch of crock? Well, the reality is, we just want to kind of have a conversation about it. Because as we were thinking about this whole concept of visualization and, our mind and how we think and how does it affect us and is it real? Does it really make that big a difference? I started thinking about, what do we hear a lot of people saying a lot when things happen? And so what comes to your mind when something happens? What do people a lot of times automatically just say?
I thought that's what would happen, or I thought so, or
yeah, or I had a gut feeling,
yeah,
or I knew that would happen. How many of y'all said that? And I catch myself doing that a lot of times, and usually it's in a negative light. It's something bad that's happened, or it's something that we don't want. We're like, I knew that would happen, or yeah, I thought so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how did you think so? Think about it. How did you think so?
And really, in both good and bad.
In good and bad.
Don't want happen. Things that you do want.
And so as we've been looking into this, and of course, we've been on a journey the last couple of years. We call it our Freedom Quest in all the areas. Those of you that watch us very, very long know that I'm a Vital 7 coach, success coach. And the Vital 7, there's 7 areas that we look at that all work together. And so we've been looking at all those, and your mental is one of them. And so we've been on a journey in all these different areas. And so recently, though, visualization and the power of your thoughts, your mind, how you think, how you respond, and how you, what you hope for, how you look. Hey, Julie, good to see you tonight. You and Brad and the family's doing good. And so we just want to kind of talk about some of the experiences we've had with visualization. And now, of course, we've been trying to visualize good things, positive things. And some of the things that we've had to learn that we have to visualize is we have to be specific in our visualization. Mm-hmm. So now, a couple of years ago when we first started this, we learned about the whole concept of having a vision board. Mm-hmm. And so I have a vision board. In fact, I'm sitting here in my office, and I have all plastered all over my wall over here, opposite here. Maybe I'll show you, maybe I won't. We'll see. Just keep watching. Hey, Britt, how you doing, man? But I also have a picture I took of my vision board on the wall, and I put it on my computer screen, and I got it on my phone. So I see these certain things all the time, the things that what I dream about, would love to happen, and I think would be so spectacular. My life would just be amazing if these things would happen. They're like game changers and stuff. And so, I'll maybe show you here before this night's over. But as I've been looking at the things that I have been visualizing about, and like I said, we started this a couple years ago. So just to give you a little hint, my vision board has actually changed this year. This year it's changed because some of my visions actually came to pass. I couldn't believe it. So I had to go and up my visions and make them bigger. And so that's the cool thing, that you grow into this. You grow into your faith. You grow into your capacity to imagine, your capacity to actually receive, your capacity to retain. But it all starts you need to be able to think and visualize as big as you can right now where you're at.
Right.
And so, well, what's a way, Alicia, here recently or in the past, what comes to your mind when you think of your journey of visualizing and some examples or things that you've experienced, maybe good or bad?
So I was thinking about sometimes as the mom in the family, and I don't know, sometimes I just think about our health and how sometimes I'm so concerned about, guarding against germs and not getting sick. I feel like sometimes that kind of, that's been one of my questions, like, does that play into it when we end up getting sick? Is it because I've just, visualized something bad happening, and could that be? Something recently that was really cool, I had a business goal with Young Living, and it was a very specific, I had never been able to, it was a certain amount of new members that I really wanted to get oils into their homes, and I had 3 kits in my house that I like to keep on hand for people that are local so they don't have to wait for them to, come in the mail. And I really wanted to be able to bless 3 families with these kits, and like in a month's time. And no sooner had I visualized that happening, and I knew I had a couple classes and very specific people I was meeting with that I really wanted to bless with these oils. All 3 kits were people bought them. They were ready to get these in their homes, and that had never happened. And I think that was a big part of why it happened, is just visualizing that these people needed these, and I knew they were going to bless their homes, and all 3.
Yeah, I remember her stopping and saying, I really want to get these. I need to get these sold, and I want, these are just sitting here not doing anybody any good, sitting here in our office. So I want them in people's homes so they can be using them. And so she made it she had started visualizing that people would buy these, they'd want them, they would be excited about them.
And it actually happened. I was, within a month I wanted it, and it actually happened within 1 week.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think one of the biggest things that come to my mind when I think of this, a couple of years ago, my journey of really focusing and paying attention to the things I think about and visualize and want and vision boards and all this stuff. And I honestly thought it was a bunch of voodoo. Okay, I thought it was just goofy, whatever, And I wonder why I kept having, issues in my life, because that's what I was expecting and looking at,
right.
And I had some good things happening too. Cause I'm pretty optimistic and a risk taker and stuff. And so I do have, had some wins, stuff along the way. But it seemed like I could never get anywhere. Well, so one of the things about a couple of years ago that I really wanted to have is I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate investor, and so I've done hundreds and hundreds of rehab homes, flipping homes. I've had quite a few rental properties that are smaller, smaller single-family homes, just single-family homes or duplexes, or I have now some 6-unit and some 12-unit and stuff, so it's starting to get a little bit more. But I always had this mindset that you had to work your way up, small little steps up. Well, I had one of my coaches challenge me and says, "Why you're thinking too small? Why don't you think big? Okay, why don't you think big, and why don't you visualize yourself owning or being an owner of a large multifamily property?" But that was my dream, to have large multifamily type properties
someday.
And I always thought, wow, I could work my way up in years, maybe I'll get something. So I started saying, took him to task, and so on my vision board, I had a certain. Is that your phone? I had that would have a multifamily property, and that it'd be close to 100 unit or more. And so that was one of mine. And so that was like in the early part, I think, of 2018 that I had that. I went ahead and made that my vision and put it on the board, a large multifamily apartment complex. And so the cool thing is that all of a sudden I met a gentleman that now is one of my partners, and we started a business together to syndicate multifamily properties. And so shortly after, all of a sudden just weird things started happening. I started meeting these people that we just clicked with and connected with, and so we got together, and then together we shared our vision, our dreams, and next thing you know, we started looking around and observing and being hopeful and positive and trusting, and visualize in our mind what we wanted. And next thing you know, we find this off-market property in our own city. We thought we were going to have to like reach out and go all around the country or across the world to find this property. Well, we found it in our own city, not too far away, off-market deal, and we were able to jump on it, and we were able to get amazing deal. Long story short, we were able to take down a large multifamily property, just under 100 units. And it was an awesome thing to see that. I mean, I was just like, wow. I mean, what a change. Where, 6 months, 8 months earlier, I was just flipping houses and having single family rentals or had a small little portfolio. And now I'm part owner in a large multifamily complex. Well, that was one cool thing. But a part of that, one of my visions was to have, I thought this would be so cool, if I could see $1 million in cash in the bank, with a bank account with my name on it. That was on my vision board, $1 million cash in the bank. And so it dawned on me, as later on in the year, in 2018, as we were doing some real estate deals and I had some deals getting ready to go down, that I happened to open my bank account and look in there. And not only did I see $1 million cash in my bank account, I had never seen this, but I actually saw 1.2 million. And I was like, what in the world? Why did I have, I've been visualizing $1 million, right? But I had 1.2. I was like, why is it $200,000 in there more than what I had visualized? Well, then I was sitting here at my desk, the same desk that I'm sitting here with and doing this talk right now. And in fact, maybe I'll show you. But if you look over here on my lampshade, I don't know if you can see it, but anyways, really quick glance there. Anyways, maybe you didn't see what it says, but I had also had someone challenge me to write myself a check and to put it on somewhere where you see it all the time you're sitting at your desk. And so I taped it to my lampshade, a check, and I wrote myself a check to payable to Justin Enquist for $200,000. And so then it dawned on me, okay, so not only did I have my $1 million cash on the wall up there that I wanted, but I also had this check for $200,000 I was looking at and visualizing as well. And so that, wow, the power of visualization, the power of focusing your mind, of telling yourself what you want, and focusing and being positive and trusting, and almost saying, I wrote myself a check, Justin Enquist, $200,000. And I even found their monthly income. And that's interesting right there, monthly income, because right now I have some affirmations / goals that I write out. I try to write them out every day. I'm pretty faithful at that, but I'm more faithful than I do. If I don't get them written out, I do say them, like when I'm driving my truck or when I get up in the morning. And right now my affirmation is that I'm going to be making $200,000 net income every month from my real estate deals or business or whatever. And so that's exciting. I just noticed that I had wrote monthly income on this $200,000 check. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know when that happens. But the reality is that it's so cool. When you start realizing that, we are, and our experience is as big as our vision and our thoughts and our imagination and our faith. And that's why, I'm a Christian, and so I have a strong belief in the Bible and in truths that God says, as a man thinks within his heart, so he is. And I always saw that as, the evil or the wicked, So don't think in your heart wickedness, Don't think in your heart bad. Yeah, there you go, Julie. Mailbox money. That's nothing, right? That's like peanuts. And so, but the reality is that, you don't want to, because the same power does work in that direction. And that's why when I say voodoo, there is such a thing as voodoo. People can conjure up things and use this in a negative way that can, bring about destruction and negative connotations. But why do we run away from it, and why do we think it is, why don't we use it to our advantage? To me, this is amazing to see how much power we give other people over our lives, and how much power we give away by just letting other people dictate how much we can be, how big we can be, what our calling is, or how much money we can make, as far as, that's what's so sad about a majority of people. The average person out there is that they allow their jobs, their schools, their universities, or their parents even, their friends, their peers, to dictate how big they can be, how successful they can be, how much money they can make, how much they have to work, where they can vacation, how many weeks a year they can vacation, how many kids they can have, whatever it is. And so, any other thoughts? I have a couple more examples about.
I was just going to say, as Christians too, because I've been thinking about this a lot, as we're praying and really visualizing in our prayer, are we believing, or do we have faith to believe that what we're asking God can do? And honestly, there's been times when I've prayed for things, but it seems too big. Can God really do this? Or maybe I have faith, but do I really trust that it's going to happen? And, praying in faith. And so I think that's even more, as Christians, yes, visualization, and with the power and the backing up of God in our faith and Him answering our prayers. And I think so often we limit, we pray too small. We're asking Him. I mean, He owns it all. Nothing is too hard for Him. He can move mountains. He can, do the impossible. He spoke and the world happened. He's spoken into existence. So why, I firmly believe we're limiting Him in a lot of things in our life. And so I just wow, not only the visualization of what's going to happen, but praying and believing in faith that this is really going to happen. And, that even what God puts on our hearts, it's from Him. I mean, there's definitely things that we could ask that would be contrary to His will, and we would know that. But, if He's put these things on our hearts and He's given us a vision for something, then it's from Him, and we can pray in faith, believing it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so.
And I always want to say, kind of take a quick little bunny trail, because something that I've been really thinking a lot this week goes along with visualization. But it's something that I read in the 10X book by Grant Cardone. This whole concept of you don't want to view yourself as a competitor. You don't want to view yourself as a competitor. And that's what goes in what we were talking about, how we look around and see what everyone else is doing. Even in the business world, whatever business you're in, a lot of businesses, they go out there and look at all their competition's doing. And then they base their decisions, how much they charge, whatever they do, what their services or products they're going to provide, with what their competition's doing. Where the concept that challenged me was that Grant Cardone mentioned in there that we should not be competitors, but we should dominate. And at first that sounds arrogant, right? That we should dominate. But the reality is that we aren't anyone else. We are who we are. There's only one of us. You as a person watching this right now, there's only one of you. And you have the responsibility, you have the opportunity to go out and dominate you. Dominate what you can do, because no one else can do it like you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it, then it's not going to get done like it could. There's going to be something missing in this world. And so don't compare yourself with anybody else. Compare yourself with yourself. Compare yourself with your thoughts. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. And so raise your thoughts, raise your dreams, raise your visions, raise your aspirations of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So that so challenged me here last couple weeks that Alicia and I, were sitting down, because I think tomorrow marked the first day of the last quarter of the year of 2019. And so, we were thinking about, oh my God, we got to figure out, where we're at and what do we want to accomplish before the end of the year. And so we sat down and we started coming up with our goals of what we wanted to accomplish this year. And we started getting those in our focus, our mind. And so a couple of things, for example, that we wanted was that we wanted to number one, we have a property that we're working on that we wanted to pre-sell. Is an investment house that we wanted to pre-sell and not rehab, because it's a unique property and you could, depend on who's buying it, it's depend on what you do to it. Mm-hmm. And it's a big house, and so we're like, really like to pre-sell it one. So we started making that our focus and started really preparing the property for that, and we put signs out there, started posting stuff. And it's crazy. Guess what? Within a week, I think, wasn't it? Within a week of us really being focused, praying about it, but then really trusting and visualizing that place as being pre-sold. And for an amount of money that we, want to sell it for. So we'll see. It's still in the works, because I had someone come up and they were crazy interested in it. And they were like, it's out of the blue, perfect situation for this house. Cash buyers. And they want a quick sell on it. And in fact, they just paid to have an appraisal done on the property. And then Alicia and I were even tonight talking about it, visualizing it. We were like, I even asked you.
You did. As we're pulling up our road. I want that sold. Are we visualizing it?
I said, what do we do, Alicia? I mean, what do we do? Get this thing done. I mean, it looks like it's so close. And she said, we just need to trust and visualize it's done. And so as we're pulling up to the neighborhood, we look over and there's people in the driveway of that house. I was like, oh my God. So I back up and quick and pull in the driveway quick. And it's the same people there that are looking and very interested in buying it. And they were bringing their friends to see it. And they were telling me that their appraisal should be due tomorrow. And they're real excited about wanting to make this thing happen. And so I am like, wow, game on. This is so awesome, So stay tuned. We'll let you know how it goes and stuff. But we're just trusting that place is done and sold. But it's been so cool. As we started, at first I was like overwhelmed with the year and what we had left in a short amount of time. And until we started getting the plan, saying, why are we so concerned about this? Why are we like bogging ourselves down? We visualize this is what we see as the best opportunity, and here's what we visualize happening. And so that's one thing. And then another thing is I need to hire an employee for one of my businesses that would be able to free me up from having to be tied down to the day-to-day operations. Mm-hmm. And so we started really praying, and we started really visualizing this perfect employee, person that could come in and take over a lot of the responsibilities that I do on a daily basis. And out of the blue, this individual a couple weeks ago just seeks me out on social media and says, hey, I'd like to go out to lunch or have coffee. So I was like, okay. And so he had no idea that he was, also like, I know that guy. And this thought hit my mind. I was like, we'll see. So I went and met with him. And sure enough, he was just there to kind of offer his services, wanted to get to know me. A couple of years ago, I had tried to pursue him. We tried to do something, do a deal together or whatever. And he kind of went a different direction. It wasn't the right time. And now he's like coming back. And just like he was ready and wanting to get back together and like offer his services. And I was like, he wasn't even thinking about like working for me. He just wanted somehow to be associated with me and our deals and real estate and our business. And I was like, dude, would you be interested in possibly, because he has his own little business, his own company. I was like, would you be interested in actually maybe working for me? Coming on board with one of my companies.
It's the answer that we're looking for.
And believe it or not, he was like shocked that I didn't ask him, but he was like, I would. And so, anyway, so last few weeks or stuff, I met with him and had meet some of my team. And then tonight, at our date night, we had a little date night, we were sitting there talking about, I was kind of getting sucked down into some of the things going on. I was bogged down with all the stuff I need to get done. And one of the things was I need to get back to this guy and seal the deal or make an offer of employment. And as I was sitting there talking about it, I finally said, okay, you know what? We're going to go ahead and make an offer. And I'm going to go ahead and we're thinking about what we're going to give him, what we're going to offer him as far as employment. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and do it tomorrow. Well, guess what? Also, my phone buzzes. And this guy the gentleman, he reaches out to me and says, hey, just want to let you know, I'm getting all these other jobs coming in, and I've been holding off. I've been waiting to hear from you and see if this is a deal or not that we're going to be able to try to pursue and work out. And it's like just right there, confirmation that I need to act and move on this thing, that there's something to this. And it's just like it stunned me, it surprised me, because it's something that it wasn't even in the picture a few weeks ago. It wasn't even part of the plan. I mean, I had no idea. It was until we put our focus, what we needed, what we wanted, our goals for the year, and we did it together, and we started visualizing it, that all of a sudden things have started to fall into place. It's amazing. Honestly, a few months ago, I had some, in real estate and business, you have ups and downs. And honestly, as I realize now, that's a good thing, because that means you're alive, and that means that your heart's beating, okay? Mm-hmm. A flat line's not good and stuff. So if you have no problems in your life, if your life is just good, then you need a jump start. Someone needs to come and kick you in the pants, or they need to give you a shock treatment, right? It might knock you down, but it'll push you back up too. Anyways, I have plenty of ups and downs. I am very alive, okay? I'm very alive. And so anyways, I was in one of those situations where I had a lot of projects going on, and I had low on cash. I mean, cash is king when it comes to business. And so I was sitting there trying to figure out. But I was visualizing, having this big significant draw, this cash. And I started pursuing different things, and it was going to be a pain in the butt. I couldn't quite make it happen. And all of a sudden, boom, a thought came to my mind. I was like, that's it. And so I started pursuing that, and it just fell into place. Someone contacted me, I contacted them. In fact, someone right the next day contacted me and said, hey, I got this money I need to have used. Can you put it to use? And I was like, can I put it to use? Boom. Yes. And I had the perfect project to put it in that would secure his money, and that'd be perfect and make everything flow. And it came all together. And that was within, a couple weeks of coming to the place of realizing what I needed. But it took me stopping and coming up with what do I need,
Exactly.
and then trusting that it'll work, and then visualizing it as already have been being done. And it happened. It has been,
I think
it's
that's
been
been
a
a
crazy
big part of it too.
journey.
Is you've got to figure out exactly what the need is, not how you're going to do it.
Now let me tell you how I messed it up this year, okay? I messed it up, and so I'm still waiting for it to be corrected. So I visualized a hot tub. I wanted this hot tub. I visualized it myself. Even tonight, I was visualizing driving home from our date night, me sitting in this hot tub just boiling and bubbling.
Actually, we were visualizing doing Facebook Live from a hot tub,
Yeah,
to be totally
exactly.
honest.
And then we got a little bit of R-rated talking and got a little X-rated. Like, okay, we better like pull back and stick with The Office. But anyway, so I was visualizing a hot tub, and so the cool thing is that let's see, a couple of months ago, we got a property, and guess what the property had on the back deck? It had this great looking hot tub, and it came with the property, and the property wasn't too far from our house, and I was like, good God, all my visions are coming true and stuff. Well, I had this visualize just a hot tub, okay? I didn't visualize a new one and
Good
a working one.
Hot.
And so I got a hot tub serviceman to come and check it out. And after looking at it, it's going to pretty much cost as much as trying to get this one fixed and moved and repaired and working for us to almost buy a brand new one.
You might as well buy a new one.
So I was like, screw that, we're going to redo this vision here. Okay, so I kind of added a new word to my vision for a hot tub. I was like, I want a new hot tub.
We want something that's going to last.
And so that is an important fact, though.
Yes.
You need to be specific in your visualization.
Yep.
You got to just be specific. And that's one thing that I have started to change to my affirmations and things that I say, like I said before on a daily basis, is I now used to say that I will be, or I want, or I want to do this, or I want to have this, or I will be doing this. And I now do it in the present as I am, I have, I enjoy, or I'm loving doing this, whether it be traveling, whether it be having time and financial freedom, or whether it be inspiring people to greatness, or to live fully, or contribute greatly, whatever it is. And so now I've changed it to something that I already have. And it's been a whole new mindset to me, but that's the kind of little things that you need to know about in order to really fully benefit. And honestly, back to, I don't like to always spiritualize everything, okay? I'm not one of those likes to always spiritualize, but if you go through my Vital 7 coaching course, you're going to realize that your spiritual is one of the Vital 7, and it's an aspect you can't ignore. It's an aspect that it affects everything, just like your physical does, just like your financial does, just like your emotional, your mental, your social, your sexual, all these different areas and stuff. But basically, the reason why I like to go to the spiritual, because I was brought up in a very conservative spiritual family, grew up in a spiritual, in a spiritual home. And so the cool thing for me recently is to see how many of these principles of truths, of the power of your mind, your thoughts, believing, of how a lot of Christians and people in church talk about it, but that's as far as it gets. They keep it separate from their real world experience. And so it's something they talk about in church, or they talk about when they're having their quiet time, or they just talk about in fellowship, but they don't apply it to the business world. They don't apply it to their physical life. They don't apply it to a lot of times their mental or their emotional. They segregate all these things. They keep them separate. And that's been the cool thing that I've been seeing, is just how these principles that are based out of God's word, their truth, how these same things work in the business world, how they work in our family, how they work, and you don't have, and that's why you see a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they're using the biblical principles. And they're leaving God out of the equation, but guess what? God's principles, God's ways work even without him. They work. Of course, God gives you, they don't last forever. They don't last for eternity and stuff, but but his principles work. And if you can include God in with it, then wow, what a greater power dimension you can have. But regardless, these things work. And so, that's been the cool thing for us. And so we've been able to start experimenting in the physical world here, in just our desires, like a hot tub, a freaking hot tub. I'll let you know when I get my brand new hot tub, and I'm sitting there bubbling in it. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Maybe I'll invite you over to come try it out. But So think about what are some things that you would love, or you visualized, or you've seen happen that maybe you didn't even realize. How many times have you thought about something, you looked at something, and then pretty soon you had it. You're like, wow. Because, that's how we pretty much do everything in life. Mm-hmm. You're visualizing something. There's something motivating you. Maybe you're playing video games all the time. You're watching movies all the time. Or whatever it is.
And even that, be careful. What are you visualizing? Are you visualizing anything?
Are you visualizing reality, or are you visualizing fantasy? Right. Maybe you say, my world's just fake. Because maybe that's all you're visualizing or focusing on is fake fantasy things. And so, anyways, I don't know why we're even talking about this, or where we're trying to go with this. All I want you to think about is we are in a journey of experimenting and trying these things and trying to master, and experience every aspect and area of life we can to the fullest.
Mm-hmm. We want to live in abundant life.
Yeah, we want to live in abundance. I don't want to limit myself in any way. Mm-hmm. And I want to dominate me and what my mission is, what I am supposed to be all about. I want to dominate it. I don't want to just be average. And so that's the cool thing, is that as big as you can think, there's no limit on where you can be if you visualize it, if you look at it. And then, of course, another conversation is we have to take action and stuff. But first you have to, where no vision is, the people perish is another truth that you hear. You got to have vision. And as a man thinks within his heart, so he is. And so we've talked about that already. And,
Amen, Stephanie. You keep going, girl.
So that's right, Stephanie. You got this. Visualize, the exact hair studio you want, the location you want. Visualize the signage. Visualize all the people lined up with these people with all this hair that wants to be colored and cut, and then your next thing you're going to be visualizing employees and helpers and all this kind of stuff. And that's what it's all about. If
anybody lives here locally and they want a really good hairstylist, look up Stephanie.
Yep, Stephanie. She does an awesome job. You like my wife's hair? Yeah.
Very happy.
It's her handiwork, and so that's the cool thing. We can also help visualize for each other. And a lot of times, we're just caught small.
Right.
And if it wasn't for my coach, I would still be pursuing duplexes and quads, which I don't mind having those now. But to me, that's not my pursuit. I want 100 plus. And so now the cool thing is, now that I got my almost 100 unit multifamily property, now guess what? We're visualizing bigger. And so now we're working on, and because we're thinking even bigger and visualizing bigger, now we've got this deal that keeps growing. We got a deal that we're up to like 280 units right now we're working on, and it keeps growing. It might actually reach close to 400 units by the time it gets done. I mean, it's crazy, but I'm like, boom, just like bring it, because it's like the sky's the limit. I don't want to limit myself in any way. And so, anyways, think about that. If you right now feel like you're stuck, you're trapped, you feel like that you're all you have is negative things happening, then I encourage you to change your vision, change your focus. Mm-hmm. And did you have anything else for wrap it up? I'll do one final little thing. My phone's about to die. But basically, I've also been going to a men's group in our church here last few weeks, and on Wednesday nights. And so we've been talking about different concepts, men. Been a great series, Wild at Heart. And but anyways, last week we were challenged to go back and look in our past at things that kind of dictated our perspective, our mindset, dictated our identity of who we are, whether it's from our family or other influences or friends or whatever it is. Look back and see the tendencies that we see in our mind and who we are now, and our like habits or things that we just do naturally, and try to see where they come from, whether they're negative or positive. And honestly, as I started going down and looking at some certain things and certain circumstances, certain instances, I started having negative, just being overwhelmed with negativity. And it actually pulled me down a little bit as I was thinking about, some of the negative traits that I have that I'm trying to overcome, and seeing, kind of seeing where some of that stuff might have come from and different things. And so that was sucking me down. But it wasn't until, I talked to Alicia, and the next day, I started thinking, what the heck am I doing? I started doing my vision board, looking at different things, seeing where I actually am today compared to where I was years ago. And I started looking at certain circumstances that happened in my life. And I was like, all of a sudden I started looking at those as a whole new perspective as, here's some things, here's where I was, and look where I am now.
That's right. And
look at the fact that I can actually stop and look at that. I can see it in a whole new light now, and I can put meaning, any kind of meaning I want on that circumstance. And I can either have that look as a miry pit to suck me in and pull me down in, or I can look at that negative experience as a springboard for for me to bounce off of and accelerate me to actually go the opposite direction and to learn from it, to embrace where I was and where I'm going and who I become now and who I even want to become more, and start seeing it as, hey, a measuring line of progress, and not like, oh my God, look who I was, who do I think I am, trying to think I've changed now. And the reality is that I have changed. What's changed? The biggest thing that's changed is my perspective. Is my ability to look at these things I've gone through and give it new meaning, a new perspective, a new vision.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I'm excited about. This is a powerful thing. You can sit here and be going through, your circumstances can be the same all around you. But you can sit right here in your chair, wherever you're at, your table, in front of your couch, in front of your TV, on your couch, whatever it is, maybe in your car, and you can sit here and you can completely change your whole circumstance in your mind, in your thoughts, by looking at it with a different perspective, giving new meaning to what's going on, new application, new motivation from it, in ways that you're going to allow it to affect you and how you're going to respond to it. And you can all of a sudden look at it as, this is an awesome opportunity for me to grow. What have we told the kids, and I even reminded you, and what did you remind me this last week when we came with a little phrase, a little quick reminder, quick check that we tell each other when we start fussing or complaining or saying things are hard.
Things, yeah.
What do we say?
It's an opportunity to grow.
I must be growing. As we tell each other, say, I must be growing. And it totally changes your thoughts, gets you back online that, oh my God, okay, the circumstances is making me strong. It's like going to the gym, lifting the weights, the muscles are ripping.
Fun.
It's not cool, it's not fun when you're doing it, but you sure love it later, when the big old biceps and the chest and all that kind of stuff is popping your shirt buttons and all this stuff. So anyways, visualization is a powerful thing, and I think we have barely scratched the surface. And we are all in, and we envision big things for us. We envision big things for our network, for our community, for those that we're with, for our friends, and we want to all maximize our life together. And that's why our vision, our passion is to inspire greatness and help all those around us as well as ourselves live to our full potential. We don't want to be average. We don't want to just get by. I want to have so much that I can just give to anybody with need, at any time. I'll sneak one of my little affirmations in. I say that I am worthy, and I do experience time and financial freedom, so I can do whatever, spend whatever, go wherever, anytime, and help anyone. I don't want anything temporal to be able to limit me from being able to make a huge impact on people's world, whoever. I don't want myself, my lack of being able to think big, my lack of taking big actions to keep me from being able to have resources that should be mine, that I should be able to have to help someone else in need and stuff. And so, anyways, how big are you thinking? Are you thinking small? Well, we'll find out. Your big chance. It's a cool thing. So I'll tell you, our conclusion is that visualization is not voodoo, but it is reality, and it can be your reality. And so let's put it to work. Let's not give anyone else the power of our minds and our imaginations. Right?
Amen.
All right. Well, let us know what you're visualizing. Let us know what areas in the comments that you're going to up your vision, that you're going to push yourself to have to think bigger than what you are now. And stay tuned as I watch for my hot tub.
That's
so
right.
y'all have a good night.
Good
Talk
night.
to you later.